It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
No fear! No fear, no fear, no fear here on Declare Your Independence of me, Ernest Hancock here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the beautiful studios of Freedoms of the Nest, freedomsphoenix.com here on our little mini farm. And we got a couple of acres and we're playing farmer, and we're learning a lot here. Now, I want to make sure I say your name right. Is it Marcin?
Marcin.
All right, Marcin Jakubowski. Have I got that right?
Right.
Okay, here we go. Now, Marcin, let me tell you what's going on. Here's a guy, he's a young man, comes here to America from Poland as a child of some immigrants, and he's smart. He gets his Ph.D. in physics. I mean, the boy's got some skills. He gets out there, and he's like, this isn't feeding anybody, So he wants to get more serious about this. So he goes out, tries to play farmer, and finds out the difficulty is all the equipment keeps breaking. And then you got to go through all this. He goes, you know what? What if we built a community construction set kind of thing that we got all the equipment that we need for sustainable community? And he came up with 40, 50 pieces of equipment. He goes, we can do this. And now I have two sons that are both machinists. One has his own computer-guided mill in his garage, and you just ask him, he'll tell you he can make just about anything. So what you guys said, you know what? We can make just about anything because we're smart and we'll learn how. So being familiar with open source technology and software, as you can build on previous information that people have accumulated, humanity marches on. Well, how come we're not doing that with hardware? Certainly to feed ourselves. Well, Marcin did. So with that brief introduction, tell me, because I first found out about you from, I think it was a TED Talk. And I saw that, and then we were at PorkFest this year, and one of your supporters came on, and he's a big fan. So we've been hearing about it and so on. In fact, he just found out that we featured one of his pieces of equipment. It's called a micro tractor, right?
Yep.
We featured that on the cover of this month's magazine because it's about gardening and growing your own food. So, Marcin, please tell me from beginning to end your entire life story. I can't wait.
Entire life story. Hey. Have to abridge it a little bit. Most important part is being really frustrated at the grad school level, or with education in general. And the farther I went, the more useless I felt. And I said to myself, well, hey, aren't there some pressing world issues that we need to be solving right now? Why are we messing around in theoretical subjects and in my physics classes talking about things that don't even exist? So at a certain point, it became clear that, hey, I got to really break out of that and using not the particular skills that I learned, but just more applied knowledge and same kind of thinking to develop a construction set for a new civilization. How about that? Basically, what we do is take industry standards for the various infrastructure technologies in civilization, anything from food production to energy, housing, fabrication, everything, and say, okay, how do we create open source variants of the proprietary technology such that we have incredible cost reduction, and we make a whole set that's designed to be modular, like a Lego set, except for building real equipment and real infrastructures. So that to me is super compelling because that has potential to change the world in a sense. If we can create infrastructures for communities on a scale of 200 people, Dunbar's number, if we can show a single example that actually gets it right, meaning it can be productive enough that it doesn't have to steal or kill others to get our standard of living. Well, let's show that example. I think we've got all the technology, we've got open source know-how that can get us there. We have means to collaborate globally. So it's just an idea whose time may be ripe at this point.
You know, even as a young man, you know, I'm already thinking this way, and I think a lot of people are. And the imagination of the youth, this isn't a big leap for them. They're probably thinking, you know, why this long? So, but it always takes that innovator, that one guy, the tip of the spear, to just do it. And you inspired a lot of people, I'm sure. And I'm looking at, we have also we're streaming and doing a YouTube now, so I got some video up for the people on video. And what I'm showing is your, it's kind of like your bulldozer tractor thing with the actuators up there, the hydraulics. Now, the hydraulics, there are some components I would imagine that you're buying. I mean, you get hoses and, you know, and some different things. But the entire structure of this, you're making pieces that you can use for many different pieces of equipment, or just add on a piece of this one machine here can be 3, 4, 5 machines, right?
Right. It's like a Lego set, literally, or a Erector set, where you can use the same building blocks to make different things. So to talk about how it's done right now, well, because we haven't developed, we have only 8 prototypes so far of the different machines. Down the road, we will be making the components and even making the materials. But for now, we're reduced to buying almost everything off the shelf, simply because we don't have the fabrication technology yet to bootstrap totally from the ground up. But at the limit, we're talking about things like bioplastics for greenhouse glazing from plants, and things like smelting of aluminum from clay, which are all proven processes. So we say that there is no shortage of materials. It's just a shortage of a willingness to do it right. I mean, anything can be done. It's a question of how we want to do it. And right now, of course, in society, we like to do things in the cheapest, the dirtiest way. But there's other ways to do it.
Oh, the fact that you just have the skills that you can do it yourself is because this always comes up. You know, it's a common theme in science fiction and so on. You know, the time machine. He goes into the future and they don't have any of these skills, so he brings 3 books. What 3 books would you bring? You know, how would you start a society? What kind of knowledge do you need to build on? And the thing is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, that would be the Civilization Starter Kit DVD that we will publish maybe in a couple of years, basically giving full instructions for how to build all the technologies which allow you to go from natural resources to an actual civilization.
You know, I want to ask this question.
That hasn't been published yet.
Oh, we're looking forward to it. But I want to ask you this question. When you have entire communities, and it's always been a danger to the man. I mean, there's always some guy with a shiny badge that shows up. Hey, man, you're not allowed to be able to grow your own food. You're not allowed to have raw this. You're not allowed to barter. You're not allowed to make. You're not allowed. Have you run into any of that? Are there somebody showing up?
No, not particularly right now. I mean, we happen to be an area of Missouri, which actually in our county there is no building codes, for example, so we can actually experiment as we will. But the news is actually very positive, and this is what we really focus on, is the absolute creative approach. And the point is, if you start to generate small-scale economies that actually are capable of providing without having the proverbial man interfere with that, then you're talking about creating an economic and political system as the new, based on this substance, the real substance of productivity from local resources. So that is way different, but I think it has the power to totally transform the politics of the world as we know it.
Of course it does, and that's why they don't like it. It's like the farmer that they put out subsidies or say you can or can't grow some product, and he goes, well, I grow it for my own cows on my own land, and they said, no, because you grown it means you're not buying it and you're affected by interstate commerce. So I'm going, wow, there's always the man. And I'm going to be keeping track of what you're doing. We're going to cover this because I find it extremely interesting. I find the fact that this is where humanity needs to go. You don't have to be an expert at everything. You just got to, kind of know a little bit about everything. Just know what's out there. Know who to contact. Go how to get Marcin to come in and, help you become your own community, sustain itself, and take their blueprints. When we come back, we'll talk about it more. What are some of the machines they have working right now? I know which one I want. The Brick Maker. We'll be right back here on Declare Your Independence in just a little bit.